recording. Thank you. And I will call the meeting to order. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being audio-video recorded. The agenda lists all of the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and those that are reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items may not be listed, may also be brought up for the discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. Please address all comments to the chair. And for the purposes of tonight, I am the acting chair, Mary Wilson. This meeting of the Conservation Commission will be held by Zoom at the link provided in the notice. And for anybody who is joining in from Lunenburg Public TV, you can find the Zoom link on our agenda that's posted on the town calendar. If you are logging in directly from Zoom, the meeting ID is 812-837-82929, passcode 468905. So I am calling this meeting officially to order. Let me start out with a roll call. Richard Tremblay. Richard. I show him logged in.
Present. I thought you heard me. Can you hear me?
No, I didn't. But I hear you now. Thank you. Richard Bursch.
Present.
Very good. I don't even see you. Oh, there I do. Yeah. Okay. Jeff Viviano.
Present.
Katie Childs. Mike LaRouche.
Present.
And Bob Pease has notified us he will be absent tonight as well. Are there any announcements from members of the public? Any announcements from the conservation commissioners? Okay, no comments. Anna, I believe we have distributed the minutes from the previous meeting.
Yes, it should have. I put it on the drive.
Okay, excellent. I would accept a motion I would accept a motion to accept those meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Rich Tremblay.
Aye.
Rich Bursch.
Present. Yes. Aye.
Jeff Viviano.
Aye.
Mike LaRouche.
Aye.
And I for myself. Meeting minutes are approved by unanimous vote. Okay, we had ahead of our public hearings, appointments and hearings, 23 Cove Road enforcement. Do we have anybody from that property here with us tonight? Anna, do we know who the residents were at that property?
Yeah, 23 Cove Road is the Galonis. And last meeting, they requested a continuance to this in regards to renewing their enforcement order with the correct violations.
Okay.
We, obviously we assumed that they would have been here. So we requested that. Well, they actually requested the continuance to this meeting, and
yeah, they may not have anticipated it to be early in the agenda because typically we've handled enforcement orders late. So I'll make a note to revisit it again.
Okay.
At the end of the meeting.
All right.
And if my fellow commissioners are amenable to it, I would also like to reorder the agenda a little bit. The extension request permit for 168 West Street. If those residents are or homeowners are on I'd like to go ahead and address that as well. I think that may be short business and probably nicer to handle it earlier versus later. Do we
Yeah,
have the-
yes, we're both here.
Yes, we're both on.
Okay. Is there any objection from the commissioners to handle this business now? Okay.
Nope.
And hearing none, we will proceed. So, it's Barbara Battle and Michael Battle.
Yep.
Would one of you like to take us through what your request is and why?
Sure. You just pointed at me. Our permit is set to expire in March, and we had an unusual circumstance occur. And I think actually in my email I said July, but it was September of 2021.
21.
Right? 21.
21.
21. We're in 23 now already. Yes. So September of 2021, my husband fell through the floor of an old house. We were checking out for a friend. Broke his arm, dislocated his shoulder, and only this September has had full use of it. It actually still doesn't go all the way up, but that totally took our time and our resources and focus, and we would like to ask for an extension of equivalent time, 1.5 years, 2 years, to be able to complete the project. Nothing has been done. It's still in the conditions that it was supposed to be. You know, the grass is there, the hay bales are there, just waiting for us. We haven't even submitted for the permit yet. So everything was put on the back burner because of the fall and the time that it took for the physical therapy and the recovery.
Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. I'll ask my fellow commissioners, are there any questions that you would like to ask these applicants that are requesting the extension? Okay, and I'm not hearing any. And are there any formalities that would prevent us or inhibit the commission from granting that extension? Okay, I'm also hearing none. Then I think I would accept a motion to grant that extension.
Just a quick question, Mary.
Sure, Rich.
So this was originally granted in 2018, is that correct?
Sounds
I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay, and then we added the time that it was paused due to COVID. So that's what's brought us to 2023.
Correct.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure it is still active.
Right. Yeah.
So Anna, it is still active. You added the date, the days together.
Yes.
Okay. Super. No, that was my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rich. Anything else? Any other commissioners have questions?
I do have one, Mary. How long would the extension be for? I think that was a question in the application for the extension.
Right. So that was our question as well.
Yeah.
Whatever's allowed, right? I mean, we certainly aren't trying to stretch the hand of the law, but we were asking for 1.5 to 2 years, and the date to be set by you. It was 1.5 years that he was out of commission. So,
Madam Chairwoman.
Yes, Rich.
Yeah, at this point, we haven't had any regulation changes since this was permitted, so I wouldn't have a problem extending it for the 3 years that are allowed. I don't foresee any changes in the authorization.
That is a good point, and I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from members of the commission? Okay, I think I'm looking for a motion to approve a 2-year extension.
The 2 year or 3 year?
a 3-year would be great. I mean, that would
Yeah.
totally cover us, right?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
So I heard a second by Jeff
Mike.
Viviano.
Okay.
Mike, okay. Okay, roll call vote. Richard Tremblay,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Mike LaRoche,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, extended for 3 years by unanimous vote.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a great day.
Okay, we will move on to new public hearings. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended, and the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a notice of intent by Matthew Proctor for a retaining wall at 189 Hemlock Drive. And it looks like we have a DEP number for that. I think I saw saw Matt online. Matt, do you
Yes,
want to
yes,
review this with us?
Absolutely. Yep. I'm here. Answer any questions you have on it. Basically, there's an existing wall on the property. We're looking to remove it, change the layout of it a little bit. I don't probably need a little help with the pictures from Anna if she could put them on. I can't share my screen. But so there's an existing timber wall there. We want to remove it, replace it with a fieldstone wall, and push it back away from the water a little bit. That's what we're trying to do.
Okay. And Anna, do you have the ability to share plans or something for this?
Yeah, I'm just bringing up the pictures really quick. I also shared it to the drive. Y'all want to look at it as well, but yeah, I can go to the drive or the pictures that I have really quick and bring it up.
And Matt, did you want to go over pictures or did you have like
Sure.
drawings? or
Well, I
something
did do a
to-
drawing on it, but I figured there's some of these pictures that were taken
Okay.
might be good. Of course, covered in snow from this view is a little tough, but you can see the timbers and the stairs that were coming down to the water.
And
I'm
will
sure
those
this-
be replaced in situ or are
Yes.
those moving back?
No, so yeah, I want to remove all these pressure treated timbers.
Mhm.
If there's, Anna, do you have another one? Maybe from the water view looking back at the house? Yeah, so you can see the timbers here. You can see the disrepair of the wall and the rotting. Of course, it's time to replace this either way. We are looking to
And-
change.
Will
Sorry, go
the
ahead.
the section of wall that we're looking at right here, will that go back in the same place or will that be
So-
moved farther back?
This section we're looking at right here, of course, you can see this tree that was, landscape tree that was planted. The homeowner would like to try to save this tree.
Mhm.
We're hoping to, but the way you see how close it is to the wall was planted pretty close.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
So it's gonna be hard to save that tree, but they're hoping for this tree to stay.
Okay,
Happens to be right one of the first photos we talked through. So when I remove this, if this tree doesn't fall over, we absolutely want to keep it. If it does fall, it may, just because of how it was planted right in the corner of that wall. Anna, do you have those sketches or, oh yeah, we can keep going through this. So you'll see on the sketch, how this wall is built here. It's tiered, the stairs, you can see, you're about to walk down them in this photo. What I'm proposing to do is remove this lower wall, remove both walls, but remove the lower wall and push it back to just be one wall at the location of the further wall back. The fieldstone that you can see down the end past the timber wall, most of that's will stay. We'll continue that slope down into this area. But pretty much trying to get a little more flat land down in front of this wall is what we'll be trying to achieve. If you have any questions on that photo.
no questions for me.
I guess the biggest thing will be those sketches too, if we can scroll through them a little bit.
Yeah, hold on, let me go and get the pages.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And I did have a chance to look through this ahead of time, but when I looked at the sketches, I wasn't 100% certain what I was looking at. So I think maybe it'll become clearer once you describe it.
Absolutely. All right, so this is a sketch I made of how it is right now. This is the as-built, right? You can see how this, I know they're just kind of lines where the stairs are, but you can see the lower wall, 30 inches tall on the bottom here, away from the water. And what we're going to be looking to do is completely remove the soils behind that, and step back and have the wall being right there, where it shows this wall existing right now is 27 inches tall. And how about the next one of what I'm proposing to build? Sure. So here, same layout. This straight line coming across will be the face of the new wall. You can see where I drew some circles for the existing fieldstone that's there. So 23 feet long, 15 foot from the high water. It'll need a return wall coming back towards the water. That'll come as far, that 12 feet from that area is as far as the existing wall is now. Removing the soils that were filled there originally as well. The way it's tiered, you can tell they chopped it up and filled behind that other wall. So removing some material that was filled behind the wall when they tiered it, and just creating a nice flat area for a good access to their water. That's what we're looking to do. Any questions I could explain a little better for you on what you guys are seeing?
So aside from that one tree that we were looking at, or any other trees at risk, or any other underbrush within the 30-foot at risk of being moved, damaged, or removed
No.
or anything?
Just that one tree. So this photo is good here. You can see these two birch trees that are kind of the opening entrance to their waterfront. Those will be fine. No disturbance very close to them. And of course, when we're digging behind the birch tree that's closest to you in that photo, we always proceed with caution. We don't want anyone to lose any trees, especially a tree as nice as a birch right there at the water. That's actually kind of unique. You don't see a lot of them sitting right there around Hickory Hills. So no, just the one tree you see in this photo is the one tree that's kind of hopefully it can stay. It's going to be tough. There's obviously not a lot of root structure there to hold it up. I'm surprised it's still standing as it is, how close it is to in the corner of that wall.
Yeah, me as well. But trees grow in remarkable places.
Of
so
course.
if that one has to come out of there, can it be replaced? I mean, I would like to see it replaced.
Oh, absolutely. No, and I know the homeowners would certainly, they love the shade from that tree, and no problem replacing that tree if it has to be removed.
Do we have any questions from fellow commissioners?
If I might, Madam Chair,
Yes, please.
in looking at these, Matt, so the existing has the back wall 15 feet from the water's edge, is that correct?
Yeah, 15 foot from high water, correct.
And now it's 27 inches tall plus 30 inches, so we're 57 inches above the grade below the front wall, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
The
and then, so
yes.
so we're getting rid of all of that wall that's less than 15 feet, so that's probably halfway, so that's 7 feet or so from the water's edge. The stairs
Yes,
are coming out, the wall's coming out.
I'd say that's an accurate assumption of that area, yes.
Okay, and the grading now in front of, so the 15-foot wall is going to become the closest to the lake, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and we're going to take the grade down on the level between the two walls that's existing now. We're going to bring it down 30 inches.
So where the grade is at the front of the wall that won't be coming back in at about 30 inches there. Of course, there'll be a slope. So it won't be quite as deep right there. I foresee that wall not being much taller than 4 foot. When it's finished, just with the slope rolling out
Okay,
towards the
so-
lake, just a gradual pitch.
Okay, so you're gonna take it from where it is at the foot of the front wall and grade it up maybe, so it's gonna be a foot higher in the back than the front, that lower tiered area?
I would say yes. Yeah, pretty much there's a pitch on that beach as it is. So it'll just be continuing that natural slope and pitch
Okay,
up to
So
the
the
bottom
new-
of that back
so
wall,
the
yes.
new wall will only be 20 or 48 inches.
That'll be our target, yes,
Okay, just, well, I'm asking because that's what we'll put in the order of conditions.
absolutely.
Where you don't have it on the plan. So we have the wall, it's 15 feet. What is the back one that says 23 feet?
That's gonna be the length of the wall. So it'll be
Okay,
15 foot from the high water, the length of the wall will be 23 feet. And then of
All
course it will have that 12-foot return coming back towards the water. So I actually
Okay.
misspoke a little bit. That will come because to retain that earth, that undisturbed earth that's behind that birch tree we looked at in that photo before.
okay.
So that'll retain that.
So the only problem that I see is generally we replace wall for wall. So I personally would have a problem if that T-wall is any closer to the water line than the current face wall.
Sure, and no, and it won't be. 'Cause
Okay.
It's only coming back to retain what that other lower piece is already retaining.
Okay.
We're not trying to change any of the grades behind outside the scope of work of the as-built are not changing.
Okay, so I just want to make sure we specify that the tie-in wall going out towards the lake is no closer to the water's edge than the existing wall is now.
Perfect, absolutely.
The other thing I saw, and I'm not sure if I read it right, was your erosion control.
Yes,
So you said that's going to be 8 feet below the high water mark, or 8? I don't quite understand that.
so I'd like to use the part of the beach for access to get in there, as opposed to coming through around the side of the house. It's really tight. There's a lot of trees. One side of the house, the property line is really close to the neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a good access point coming off a Hemlock extension as opposed to Hemlock Drive, where I'd be able to get in there with a small machine, bring materials, bring the ties out, as opposed to carrying everything, of course, bring the spoils out. So I want to access through the beach with the draw down the lake, and of course it's filled up to the boards now, but with the typical 18-inch drop from the lake, removing the boards, there's plenty of room for a small machine to sneak around the beach. And that'll be, I'll be able to keep the silt fence low enough into where the high water would be for this project, as long as the lake is maintained at that height, which it is, and the dam keeps up with it, of course, until the boards go back.
All right, when are you looking to do this work?
Yeah, I want to do this winter. That's when I'm hoping to really, if we get approval on it, I could, the crew and myself be ready to go in a couple weeks on it.
Okay, and have you checked with the lake? When do they start bringing it back up? Because I believe it has to be filled by sometime in April.
Yeah,
So
so
usually they have a date that they start bringing the water back up.
absolutely. I don't have that date offhand. Of course, I'm familiar with the lake, and I'll double check with the dam committee for Hickory Hills, but I'm confident that there won't be any conflict in time frame starting this project. That we definitely won't have any open soils or anything that are going to be caught by the lake coming up. The project can be completed, looked at by you folks before we remove the silt fence and the straw wattles and have that out before the lake rises.
Okay. And so you're looking to come off of Hemlock Terrace
Yes,
and run along the lake shore bed there out to where the wall's gonna be?
yeah, so their lot, So their lot comes down to Hemlock Terrace as well. They're right in the back of the cul-de-sac, near the Hemlock Drive.
Yeah.
And they have like a temporary structure, carport, cover it type thing down there in the parking area. And there's room to sneak by through that to get down to this project. Really low impact access through that way seems the best point of access to do this work.
Okay, and how long are you estimating this will take you?
It's probably a two-week project.
Okay. All right, I have no further questions at this point, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Rich. I'll call on Richard Tremblay next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of quick questions, Matt. What's the plan for the timbers that you're going to remove from these walls? What are you going to do with them?
Yeah, they'll be going to a dump site, disposed of properly. There's one for timbers that's good. I forget the name of it, but it's Tanzio Road in Leominster. It's a regular dump facility. They won't be stored on this property or at any other property in town, disposed of at a trash removal facility.
And the tree that we discussed earlier, now, if that should tip over like we think it might, is there a plan to replace that with anything?
Yeah, so I don't have anything drawn on the plan. If that tree's not able to be saved, I'd be open to suggestions on what variety. I'm sure obviously an indigenous tree, which I don't think that one actually is, that's there. But we'd be happy to put one, right behind where it is, far enough away from the wall so we know it won't push the wall or end up in the same scenario later where it's a little too tight.
All right, great. Thank you, Matt. No further questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Richard. I'll call on Mike LaRouche next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Matt, you know the diameter of that trans?
I don't have
Can
the
you hear me,
diameter.
Matt?
Yeah,
Or-
I can. You were cutting out a little bit, but I can hear you. The diameter of that tree, I didn't put a tape measure to it. It's not overly tall. I mean, I'd say it's probably 20 feet tall. The diameter, I don't know, is probably under a
Let's
foot.
go.
So are
let's
we
go look at
looking
the.
perhaps to,
I was going to say, if we looked
do
at
we have our
there's
scale?
a side-on photo, we could compare that to the diameter of the ties, right? The tree diameter to the ties. There was another photo that showed the side of the wall, Anna.
Sure. Even this photo here. Oh, that one's
That
good.
one.
So in my opinion, because I did it for a living before this, that tree is definitely like a 5 to 6 diameter.
5 or
those-
6?
Apologies,
sorry?
Mike. Go ahead.
What's the diameter? Anna, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. I thought I heard you say 5 or 6
Yeah, so it's definitely 5 or 6
inches.
Yes, in diameter. Like all around, if you were measured around, it would be 5 to 6.
All right, from the picture, it looks like it's much bigger than that, but it looks more like 12 to me, but once again, I'm just looking at a picture. All I'm saying is if it is greater, can we use our scale? If it's 12 inches, should we be requiring 2 trees instead of just 1 tree?
We should. That's our rubric.
All right, that was my question to Matt. If he could incorporate that in his plan, if that tree cannot be saved, that he follows whatever regulation we have on diameter of trees, and he could include that in his plan for replacement, whether it happens. I'm assuming it's going to be tough to plant in the winter, might have to go to the spring. But what do you think, Matt? What's your?
Yeah, absolutely. If that tree comes down, absolutely open to that. We'll, get a tape measure on it. If it is a 12 and, 2 trees are required to be planted, we're happy to do that, of course. I'll just, be looking to the commission for a little insight on how close to the site of the tree that's removed they need to be. I'm sure one can fit right there, right behind it. Where else in the property you might like it? Is it okay if it's 20 feet away from that area? Does it want to be the same distance from the water that tree was? But we're happy to replace it with whatever has to happen, of course.
Any further questions, Mike?
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
That's it, Madam Chair.
Matt, what's the size of those cross ties that we're looking at?
Those ties are 6 by 6.
Okay. That gives us some good relative reference
Yeah,
on the tree.
Sure. You look at the butt end of that tie. It's not much smaller than that tree. So looking at the cross view, yeah, I think you get it.
Okay. And how high did you say the max wall height was going to be?
The target we're going for is 48 inches tall.
48 inches tall. Seems like my fellow commissioners have come up with quite a laundry list of conditions.
I did have one question, Madam Chair.
Yeah,
It's Jeff.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I know there's a building code regulation when you have two walls like that for fence regulations. You have to have so many lineal feet between each wall. And I think 32 inches is the maximum you can go without a fence. I just wanted to make sure that you probably know this stuff, Matt, more than we do, but how many feet you have to have in between those walls just for fall protection.
Sure.
Building code regulation. Do you know what that is? And just want to make sure that you meet that requirement. I mean, you do this for a living, so you probably know, but
We'll definitely make sure it meets any of those requirements. And of course, it's going to be one wall now, it won't be two for the distance there. And fall protection, like the 32 is for a set of steps in the front of your house where it's an access and you're walking through to enter your home. It's a little different than a retaining wall. A 4-foot wall is not any kind of a lethal drop. So fall protection typically is not required behind a 4-foot wall or even a 5-foot wall for that matter.
okay. So this is going to be two walls or just one?
One wall.
Oh, okay.
Well,
All
one,
right, I
yeah,
gotcha.
one wall in the back, it will have that return, but it's not a tiered wall system as it is now.
Okay.
It's rebuilt.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, Rich Bursch, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I had a quick question. Is the frost pretty set in the soil right now?
It's not at all. There hasn't been any frost until this cold snap just came in. And down around the lake, it typically doesn't freeze very hard at all due to the nature of the gravel around Hickory Hills and of course the water. The lake being lowered pretty much is pulling that water down with it, right? So it's typically pretty dry and unfrozen around the lake in the winter. That's why it works out well with drawdown and doing these types of projects.
Okay, one of my concerns is depending on how much you're gonna run your Bobcat in the underwater soils that have been daylighted, is
Sure.
it tends to rut fairly easily. So I would be concerned and would probably ask you to stop if you do find that you're doing any rutting in that below the high water mark area.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I understand that. Yeah, we don't want to rut through or.
Yeah, so you
Turn anything
should
up more than
have
we have
enough,
to.
you should have another plan, because my fear is you're gonna get probably half a dozen runs along there and you're gonna start rutting and then you'll start to get some erosion and siltation down into the lake.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that that's done, and any rutting that is done is repaired prior to the water coming up.
Absolutely.
And the only other thing also would be you'd need another layer of silt fence at the high water mark or above where the flooding would be if the lake came back up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you don't want any erosion from the job site getting down below the high water mark into the basin of the lake. Even though it's daylighted right now, you still don't want any erosion into there.
Yes, yeah, agreed.
Okay. So, and when were you looking to start? You said it'd take you a couple weeks to get your crew going.
Yes, yeah, so in a couple weeks after approval, and then, you know, probably a 2-week project to complete.
Okay, I don't have a lot of problems at this point with the comments I've made, as long as they're followed. I do have a problem with the documents that you've presented, as far as not having all of the work that you're planning to do on the documents, the height of the wall, the distance from some fixed point, so we know that the wall is where it's supposed to be in relationship to the water. You know, even if you were using the birch trees out along the waterfront as a point of reference to, so we know where the wall's going back.
Sure, so the high water mark at this property is very defined, right in front of those birch trees. So that 15-foot mark that I have on this plan, from there, you pull a tape off that high water mark, like I said, is very clear right below that birch tree. It's right on 15 foot. So as far as that, I feel it's pretty clear on that point. I know it's
Okay, so
I know it's a rough stretch, but
both ends of the wall are exactly 15 feet from the high water mark currently?
yes,
Okay, so both ends will be at that 15-foot mark when we're completed. Just, you have a straight line, but then you have a curvy water's edge, so.
yes. The way the wall was originally built, they pretty much squared it off. You can see how that curvy high water mark is, and that's really just because of the beach access in the center. Those two birch trees in the high water mark just in front of them, those birch trees are retaining that embankment. The wall is square with those, so those 2 points get a really accurate measurement for the 15 feet.
Okay. All right, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Rich.
I do have one other question. This is
Go ahead,
again.
Jeff.
What is the current condition of the lake right now, that the level?
Right now, so as you know, the lake is typically siphoning down, so the siphons haven't kept up with it this year. So it's the 18 inches, it's 18 inches down, which with the slope of this water, I'd have to walk right over there and see it, but it's lower than in this picture because it's been coming back down.
So is it low enough now for you to get access?
Yes. I didn't walk over there today, but the access is there. And if it's not, we're not going to drive in the water, of course. So it'd never take a machine.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We'll have a new plan of action of how we access back there if I can't come around the front. And we could come in through this way to where that tree is and reach down and remove up, up into that backyard. If that's the way we have to approach it. Pretty much, I'm just trying to save them turf damage. If I can get through, not cause any damage to the lake shore, all that holds together.
Yep.
I'd like to remove the ties out through that way.
Okay, I was just curious. I'm on Lake Shirley and it's up to full level.
Wow.
I think it might even be going over the top of the dam.
All right.
So,
Anna, could you go back to the drawings? I think I see what Rich is pointing out. And I think I have a similar kind of question for Matt. There we go. So in this drawing, you have that the straight line back wall is 15 feet from the high water mark. And then you have the kind of the tie-in wall, if you will, it's perpendicular to it, extended 12 feet towards the lake.
Right.
Anna, go to the next drawing. In this one, the closer wall, how far is that from the lake? Because that dimension is not popping out at me.
Yeah, I see absolutely what you're saying here. So I guess I wish I had that exact number for you, which I don't, but it's
Mhm.
close. From those pictures, you can see how the stairs come down. You can see this lower set of stairs that help access it. So the end of that wing that comes down will not exceed the point of the timbers that they're as built right now. And that's not very far from the high water mark. It's 3-4 feet back, which would coincide with that return being 12 feet. I know it's not a scale drawing. We didn't hire any outside sources to do a whole
And that's
drawing
fine.
on
Yeah.
this,
There's no
on
need
this
to
one,
go
on
to expense on that,
yeah,
right? But
that's
if
kind
we're
of how
gonna
it,
tie the order of condition to a limit of the existing, then we kind of got to know what that dimension
what
is.
that actually is. Absolutely.
Yeah. So is that something that you could get Anna in the next day or so? Or Anna, is that something that you could verify and get in part of this file before work commences?
Yeah, I can definitely get that more specific information from him.
Okay, and Rich, would that satisfy your concern?
Yeah, I think we can condition it right. Like I say, I generally am not, but time is an issue here.
Right.
So I just want to make sure that we've picked up everything. And I did have another question. So
Sure.
Anna's got the picture up on the screen. So the current back wall is 23 feet that the tie wall is currently. Is that correct, Matt?
The current tie wall is a little bit shorter than that. I want to come into some of that kind of rubbly fieldstone wall. I want to pull some of that down. Only, under 5 feet of it to create that to 23 feet for the new wall.
So I guess I'm a little confused on the grading. So if you bring up picture, maybe picture 946, Anna.
Hold on one second.
Okay, so we have the lower wall. And then to the left of that is the upper wall. Then we have this little bit of field stone.
Yes.
How are we tying all of the, are we taking down, so there's the stairs behind the lower wall, are those coming out?
So, yeah, the stairs at the end of the lower wall, those will be removed.
Okay, at the far end, the ones that are in front of the rubble wall.
Yes.
So
the
that's coming
slope-
out.
Yep. So in front of the rubble wall, over back here, you can see there's a small tree, much further back.
Yeah,
So that'll slope down towards this lowest area in front of the lower wall in this way, and then the slope will continue towards the lake.
so that little tree that you're marking out there at the, close to the property line of the next house, that grade will stay exactly as it is?
That tree, yes.
And then we're gonna grade it down to the 4 feet at the intersection of the 23-foot wall and the T-wall.
Yes.
And then we're gonna kind of grade it down towards the existing grade where the two birch trees are along the waterfront.
Yes.
Okay. But all of those ties along with that wall are gonna come out of that upper area.
Yes, we want to get rid of all these ties.
So all the ties are coming out. The only stairs are gonna be the ones there at the corner.
Yes.
Did I see that right?
So the stairs we're looking at in this photo here that you're about to walk down, if you were holding that camera, those are coming out. That'll be the limit of work where the end of that return wall comes to.
Mhm.
And the stairs will be pushed into that inside corner.
The inside corner with the T-wall. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, no, I'm just, like I said, I'm just trying to get a full picture of it here, and I noticed that when I was looking at the pictures, so,
Absolutely.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I think I'm looking for a motion to approve the notice of intent with conditions that the tie-in wall is no closer to the lake than the existing wall. The work stops if ruts happen below the high water mark and ruts are repaired prior to water coming up. Also, a condition that erosion control ensures there is no erosion into the lake. That the tree that's at risk and has been discussed here is replaced 1-for-1 if the diameter of the tree is less than 12 inches and 2-for-1 if the diameter of the tree is equal to or greater than 12 inches. Did I miss anything?
Did you say that the wall will not exceed 48 inches, the new wall?
The new wall, no, I did not. Good.
Okay.
New wall will not exceed 48 inches.
And the tree, if needed to be replaced, should match something, one of the species of trees in that general area. Looks like we've got some hemlock and maybe some red maple in there, and so something that matches the surrounding tree canopy.
Similar to surrounding trees and indigenous trees and surrounding canopy.
And the only other thing I would ask for is just to have Matt notify the office if when he is working down below the water line. Just so Anna can stop out and just kind of keep track of it and to notify us if there is any damage or any rutting that starts.
Okay. Good point.
And so Matt knows, he does need to notify the office once the erosion protection is in place prior to starting any work.
Absolutely.
Okay, so just give Anna a call and then she can come out and sign off that the erosion protection is sound and in the proper places.
Very good.
So yeah, just my biggest concern is if there's no frost at all, you start running that Bobcat in there. I just hate to see you start rutting it up and making mud, and then we have another problem we have to deal with.
Absolutely.
So, and again, just my personal comment, but if you do come back, I probably will not vote in favor of a plan of that level of detail. So I know this is a times of the essence here, but I won't do it again myself.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I will make that motion.
One other question. Sorry, Madam Chair.
Jeff,
Yeah, one of the other pictures has a lot of trees flagged. Are those trees to be taken down, or is that the only tree that you're going to take, the one that's in question there?
So yeah, no other trees to be taken down. I see that
Okay.
I know that there's trees that are flagged there, but there's absolutely no plan for any tree cutting.
Okay.
Or anything of that nature.
That's it.
so we have a motion to approve on the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, roll call vote. Richard Tremblay,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
I for myself. So the notice of intent is approved with the orders of conditions as articulated.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
And Madam Chair, just a note for the minutes, DEP had a comment about the abutters list, and we do have the signed dated abutters list from the assessor's office.
Very good. Yeah, I did overlook asking about the DEP comments.
Yep, but no, we do have the certified mail list from the abutters office, or from the assessor's office.
Thank
You do it. Yeah.
All right, good note. Okay, moving on. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended, and the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public meeting on the request for determination of applicability by Greenwood Sewer Service for the proposed replacement of a sewer disposal system at 113 Cove Road. Do we have the property owners or their representative here on the call?
Yes, I'm Kevin Ritchie from Civil Solutions. I'm here on behalf of the homeowners and the contractor who will be performing the work.
Okay, why don't you give us an overview of what you're doing?
I can
And-
share my screen if you'd like.
Yes, that would be helpful.
Okay.
Kevin, what did you say your last name was?
Kevin Ritchie.
Richie, thank you.
It says the host has disabled me from sharing my screen.
I apologize. Let me go and
Okay.
enable that. Apologies for that. The buttons are too close together on my screen. Okay, Kevin, try again.
Yeah, it says the same, still gives me that same. Here we go. Okay, can you see that drawing there now?
Not yet. Yep, there we
Okay.
go.
Okay. Give it a minute to upload then.
I can see it now.
Okay. So I've filed an RDA for a septic system replacement at 113 Cove Road. The system has been before the Lunenburg Board of Health and has been approved by the board. Here it's an existing 3-bedroom dwelling. It's got some wetlands down off to the side of the property, the north side of the property. Runs down along here. I've got the 50-foot buffer. Runs down through here. So all the work that we're hoping to perform, it will be outside the 50-foot buffer zone. You can see the lot line here. It's a tight little lot, a little triangular lot. We had hoped to maybe put the system over here on the side, outside the buffer, but they don't actually own that. So you can see again, the lot line kind of comes through here. It's the corner of the deck, cuts through their driveway. So really the existing systems here in the front yard now, there's an existing tank and a couple of leach pits here in the front. This is where we've ended up. That'll get us the furthest from the wetlands and the furthest above the water table. So we're proposing to tie into town water. This is probably one of the few houses left in the neighborhood that's not on town water. So we are proposing to bring in, there's the gates already in on the property. So we're proposing to bring a new water line into the house, replumbing it, bringing out a new septic tank and pump chamber here, and then putting the leach field here into the front yard. You can see at the closest point, the water will be 59 feet from the wetlands with the proposed water line. That'll be the closest work that we're performing. The septic tanks, I believe, are 64 feet. So at its closest point, the septic tank, which is a monolithic tank, so it'll have no seams. It'll be watertight. That's 64 feet off the wetlands. And then the leaching area here, at its closest point here, it'll be 73 feet from the wetlands. And then the other, basically a third or half of the system will be outside the house. So there's no trees to be removed. We do provide some erosion control down the side here. Again, so this is all lawn area here now, and it'll just be put back to lawn. Again, no tree removal. We have notified all the butters by certified mail. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. I don't have any questions. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
Just one quick question, Madam Chair.
Go ahead,
Uh,
Rich.
So no trees are coming down. It just looked like the water line was going under the tree canopy.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a brush line here. It's more brushy or kind of like brambles maybe.
Okay.
We located the larger trees, so you can see those, one here, one here. There's another one here. There's a little, some yews or something here in the front. So yeah, so where the water line kind of cuts through here, it's more grassy, just heavy grass than more than anything.
Okay, so basically it's all, you're not disturbing any of the surrounding forest area.
Correct.
Okay. That was my only question. And did you have Board of Health approval?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Those are all my questions.
Rich Tremblay, you have a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was looking at the drawing. Are we changing the grading anywhere in the front where you're proposing the system go?
I believe it's staying exactly the same. No, actually, so there's one contour. Let's see. This contour elevation 99 comes through here now. And we're just fattening it up right in here. So I don't know if that's even 6 inches, but just this corner here, basically to give a little cover over the tank and to make the system so that it meets breakup. So
Okay,
just
thank you, Madam Chair.
just this little spot right here will just be slightly elevated. The rest of the grading is all staying the same.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, then I think I'm looking for a negative determination motion.
I will make a -3 determination motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Let's do a roll call vote. Richard Tremblay,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
and I for myself. So that is a finding of a negative determination for this RDA with a unanimous vote.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I will have once the erosion control is in and before they start, the contractor will call Anna so that she can come out at least see that it's in place.
Thank you. Very good.
right.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yep, thank you. Have a
Moving
nice evening.
along. Have a nice evening. Moving along, pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended, and the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a request for amended order of conditions by Paul Cataray for the proposed repair and replacement of an additional retaining wall at 42 Pearl Street. And I think we have Paul on. Are you speaking to this tonight, or do you have a representative that's speaking to this?
Madam Chair, Chris Anderson with Hannigan Engineering. I'll take the lead on this one.
Okay, very good.
I'm gonna, if it's okay with the commission, I'd like to share my screen real quick.
Yes, please do.
All right. So for the record, Chris Anderson with Hannigan Engineering here on behalf of Paul Cataray. Looking to get an amended order of conditions for an order of conditions that was issued by the commission only a few weeks ago. The amendment is requested to replace a existing shoreline wall in place and in kind in its current location along the immediate shoreline. During the previous preparing for the original approval of installing the or replacing the existing retaining walls along the rear slope of the property, it was found that the existing retaining wall along the shoreline has also reached a point of effectively no return and needs to be replaced in order to prevent any further degradation or collapse along the shoreline. And I have a few pictures I'll be able to show in a moment. But it's the intent of the applicant to construct the new shoreline wall with a cast-in-place retaining wall system with Riverstone embedded into it. It'll run at a commensurate level of elevation as to not further increase the or perform any work or filling, if you will, of the bordering land subject to flooding that's in this area. And it'll be placed in kind. So it's pretty much replacing the existing wall as is there now with it now. Construction will be performed entirely from the upland area, so we will not be using the lake bed for any means of access. I know that was a concern by several commission members back when we were doing the original notice of intent filing, but the current contractor is able to perform all the work without getting into that area. So that's a good thing that we were able to determine during the pre-construction of the already approved retaining wall system. And based on conversations with the contractor, they're anticipating taking about 2 to 3 weeks to complete the work itself. I'm going to transition over to just a few pictures just to show the commission what we're looking at. So as you can see here, the retaining walls are starting to deteriorate and break down due to the just general wear and tear on the shoreline itself. As you can see, this is the stairwell system coming from the lake up to the grassed area on the property. You can see the silt fence of the current work being done. That is starting to, again, ravel and start to fall apart. You can see some overturning of the top course of the wall, which obviously, if left to its own devices, will ultimately just cave in upon itself. As you can see here, we have a little bit more deterioration and more top blocks starting to fall off into the lake bed itself. So it's a retaining wall system that does need to be replaced to ensure the long-term integrity of that wall and of that shoreline. Currently, we are in a drawdown period. I believe Paul Catterett, the landowner, did have a conversation. I guess they're doing additional drop down on the lake in the coming days if it's not been started already. So right now, the lake level is pretty high right now, but it's intended to drop a little bit further. But we will be placing a line of straw walls within the lake itself just to prevent any unauthorized access. Say somebody decides they want to walk too far into the lake, or if any kind of debris gets into the lake, it's contained in that area and to be removed upon the completion of construction. That's pretty much the gist of the amendment. If there's any questions from the commission, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
I'll let the commissioners go first. Do I have any questions from my fellow commissioners?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I did have a quick question. So
Please go ahead, Rich.
if you could just show me, Chris, which walls were you already approved to replace?
So retaining walls that have already been approved to be replaced, bear with me for a moment. I'll highlight them for you. So my highlighting.
Okay, so the ones that are at basically the ones that are at the 30-foot buffer line.
Yep, the retaining walls along the 30-foot buffer line going up towards the house. Those are the ones. Those are the old timber retaining walls that were falling over.
Mm-hmm.
Those ones have been replaced. What we're intending on doing is.
And you were originally planning to run along the water's edge, weren't you? Were you not?
We were, but the contractor was able to get into the site from the driveway, so that's no longer a necessity.
The picture you showed, is that the current water level?
That was the current water level when we did the filing back in the middle of January. It's under my understanding that the water level is going to be dropping over the next few days, just to keep up with the additional work being done somewhere in Lake Shirley, I guess. I know Paul Catterett had a conversation with somebody on the part of the Lake Association to deal with that. But all the work that's being proposed to be performed will take place from the upland area, so we're not going to be in the lake bed itself anymore.
Okay. I guess my only concern is this is a lot more than just a small or de minimis change to do as an amendment and not an additional filing. I guess would be my biggest concern at this point.
I think that's a fair comment, Rich. And in terms of the formality of it, would DEP need to weigh in again as well? It seems like maybe they would.
Yeah, because it's definitely not, like I say, it's not a de minimis change. So, I mean, it is something that to make a full amendment of the order of conditions, you do have to basically have another hearing, because this is definitely outside of the scope of just moving a wall a foot or extending it a foot. I mean, this is a complete rebuild along the waterfront. So unfortunately, I don't think we can really do it as an amendment, as we're doing it now at the very least. And basically, you would have to have another hearing, because it is a whole new project per se in its construction and its scope.
Any other comments or questions, Rich?
Not at this time.
Do we have any other questions or comments from my fellow commissioners? So I think at this point, I think something I'd like to do is maybe just do a straw poll of the commissioners about whether this needs to be have a new hearing. So again, straw man, Rich Bursch, I think I know where you stand on that. Aye. Richard Tremblay.
Yeah, I agree with Rich on this. I think it's a separate project. We need another filing.
Okay, Jeff Viviano.
Yeah, I would have to say the same as well.
Okay, Mike LaRouche.
Yes, I concur with my fellow colleagues. This is a much bigger project.
Okay, I have to say I'm inclined to agree with that as well.
Okay.
So
Through the chair, just one quick question. So obviously, we're trying to get this done during the current drawdown, just because we don't want to be ripping up grass that's going to be planted when the current construction is complete, and everything like that. So for the purposes of brevity, excluding the fact that this may be in excess of what the commission feels comfortable as an amendment, relative to the intent or the design, is there any concerns from the commission? I want to make sure that when we come back for an additional filing, that there's no surprises, if you will, so that we can hopefully get this closed in a one and done, and so that we can get the construction process done as quickly as humanly possible. So I would request.
That's a fair ask, Chris. So I don't have any concerns, but I'll let my my peers kind of speak for themselves. Any other concerns or anything different you would look to see in this for them to gain approval? I'll go with Rich Tremblay first.
Yeah, we just want to know if the wall that's in place now, if the new one will be the same height. I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about the dock. Is that going to stay in the existing spot? Any changes there? And I know they're trying to drain Lake Shirley, which is full because we've had so much rain this season. I'm not sure they're going to be able to do it and draw it down enough to make it actually safe enough to work out there, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion.
Thank you, Rich. Richard Bursch.
Yeah, I don't have a problem as long as the wall is the same construction material, height, and location as the existing wall is, because it is all within the floodplain. So it can't be a wall put in front of the old wall. It has to be definitely in place, Chris. And the only other concern, Rich Tremblay brought it up, is there has to be a sufficient drawdown so that you have enough buffer and space to put the hay bales and the silt fence out. So if you do get any droppage, the wall, it's not falling over the hay bales and silt fence. So that would be a concern, even if you did get it approved, trying to get the water down, because that is a problem usually once we get to this time of year for Lake Shirley to bring the water back down.
And I'll speak to that. The wall is going to be ripped out in its entirety and constructed to its current height. We did all the survey work on it, so we do have hard elevations on all the steps and all the information out there. So this wall would be replaced at the same elevation as it is currently, is within the same footprint as well.
Okay. So those would be my only concerns if you came back. So, and then just watching the water level. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. I'll call on Mike next.
Yes, Madam Chair. Chris, does this mean you're going to have to get another DEP number? And do you think you'll have time to do that? Or can you use the same DEP number?
No, so that's what the amendment was for. The amendment, we do all the same process as a typical notice of intent filing. We notify butters, we pay the additional fee, we send it out to everybody. It's just that, you know, for lack of a better term, the only thing that happens is DEP doesn't get a check. So as part of that filing, it's going to be, we're going to have to submit to DEP, get another file number, and at the same time, close out the existing order that's currently in place in order to get a new order put into place for this work. That was why we went with the amendment, to make sure it went through as smoothly as possible. Obviously, the amendment requirements are dependent on what the commission feels is too significant for an amendment, which you guys have determined it is. But from a paperwork perspective, it's about the same process. So ideally, DEP will be very quick on the return like they were on the last go around. But that's our wild card, if you will, at this point.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, so do we need to vote on this as a formal vote to decline?
Yes.
Okay. So then I think I'm looking for a motion to decline the request for amended order.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Mike.
Okay. All right, roll call vote. Richard Tremblay,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
and I for myself.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we will move on into to new business. I don't happen to know of anything that wasn't known 48 hours in advance of the meeting. Authorization of beaver site assessment. I think Bob is proposing that, so I think we'll continue that at the next meeting when Bob can speak to it directly. I do have an update on the grant application proposal for those parking planning activities. As we've discussed kind of ad nauseum at previous meetings, I did get those grants or that grant application submitted on Monday morning. So now we just keep our hands crossed, our fingers crossed that we hear some good news in June and are in a position to commence that work in kind of the December timeframe. Any questions about that? It's a monkey off of my back and I'm happy for it. Any updates on the Hollis Road residents?
Yes, Madam Chair, I just want to remind everyone that we had a request from the tenant to see if we could replace one of the bedroom carpets. And I've arranged for Acme Carpet to come in on February 4th, which is Saturday, to measure that one particular room. And hopefully that will have a number. And there was also a request from the tenant to see if we could shampoo the rest of the carpeting in at Hollis Road. And I'm in the process of getting a number for that. And I have not heard back from Signature Kitchens since I've been away, sending in their plumber and electrician to give us some numbers on labor to accompany the come in for that particular site. So I will give Steve a call to see if he's ready to bring in his electrician and his plumber so we can get a number for labor for that. That's all I have.
Very good, Mike. Thank you.
You.
Moving along, our extension request permits we've already handled. I don't see anything under certificates of compliance. We do have a notice of project change at 1325 Mass Ave. Do we have representatives for that property on the call?
There's no representatives, just because we just wanted to put on the agenda just to give the commission a heads up on what's happening. Dillison Roy is representing this project, specifically Greg Roy. I did email with him today in regards to that, just to get a little bit of insight on what exactly is going on. So they've been sending paperwork to the office just in regards to, they have a project change specifically for the stormwater system. So not exactly to us, but Greg, he did state that let's see, there will be future submissions with us in regards to minor modifications to the order of conditions. So not exactly right now. Right now, it's just in regards to the stormwater, and this is the documents that we've been like putting on file at the office. But Greg did say for the future reference, there will be some modifications put forth and an extension possibly for the order of conditions in regards to this project.
Okay. Any questions there from fellow commissioners? Okay. Enforcement, do we have any enforcement updates, enforcement order updates?
Just, Madam Chair, I was muted. Just to go back to that previous project.
Oh, sure, Rich, yeah.
They are not doing any work inside the 100-foot buffer, Anna?
They are not, but Greg did say that the minor modifications are due to, they will be doing some very small work within the buffer. Like it'll be kind of just like jumping in a little bit. So it'll have to eventually file or modify with us for those order of conditions.
Okay.
But originally it's not really, no, it's not really in the buffer zone. It's just whatever they are changing will involve some small work within the buffer.
Okay, so they're gonna file prior to doing the work. They're just going for their MEPA review.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Rich. Okay, back to enforcement orders. Do we have any, I guess we had 23 Cove Road enforcement on the agenda earlier. Do we have anybody from that property on the call?
It doesn't look like the Galonis are on this call, so I will reach out and ask for them to be on for the next meeting, just because we have to vote on for that new enforcement order with the accurate violations and rescind the previous one, which the previous one's technically it's closed out, but to just issue the new one with the correct violations. So
Yeah,
guess-
maybe they didn't understand that they actually had to be here for the formality of the vote. I don't know.
yeah, I
Of
know
the
that.
hearing and the vote.
Yeah, I know they wanted to come to this meeting because they wanted a continuance, because they had more information that they wanted to put forth. But yeah, I'm not sure what exactly. But moving on, so 48 Oak Ridge and 54 Pine Grove, still they have like the butters list, and some other required submissions that they need to, and I've been in contact with them. It's just a matter of when they submit those last things to officially put them on as a hearing. And I think it was a mistake. I forgot to tell Rebecca to take off the 336 Arbor Street. And also me as well, I forgot to take that off, but since that was on the last meeting for a negative determination. And then for the notice of non-compliance at 205 Sunset, I actually had a site visit with them today just to familiarize myself with the area and get to talk to them about where they're at this point in time, since they now are working with Dillis and Roy, specifically Seth Donahue from Dillis and Roy. They were supposed to meet with him yesterday in regards to some updates they made to their plans. They unfortunately postponed their meeting with these property owners to Friday. So they're obviously just waiting on Dillis and Roy to give them appropriate plans so they can, do the right thing and do the right, type of adjustments to these plans that they originally didn't abide by, obviously. But so I'm in constant contact with them. They said that they also will update me on the meeting that they have with Dillis and Roy on Friday on how they're moving forward in their plans.
Okay. Thank you for that update. I think that covers everything in the enforcement area. All right, open space and land use, Howard Street driveway. I don't think we have updates there. I don't think we have updates on timber sales. I'm not aware of conservation land improvements that are ongoing other than the grant proposals that we submitted. Any committee reports? Silence is golden. Any other communications, public comment? Okay. Anything else that we need to cover tonight, folks? I think I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Mike?
Excellent. Very good. Roll call vote. Richard Tremblay,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, everyone, have a lovely evening.
Yes, great
Thank
job,
you.
Good
Mary.
night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, you too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially
you did, Mary.
keeping track of all of those points on the Hemlock Drive one. That was very good.
I was writing furiously to keep up with you, Rich. All right, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.